We're at the Circa in Las Vegas for day 2 of Mountain West Media Days 2025.
Day 1 were the players. Day 2 are the coaches. We also get to interview Gloria Navarro as Commissioner of the Mountain West. So here's another interview.
Hey, JY back with the Big Mountain. I have Wyoming head coach Jay Sawvel. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, this is a great event.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they do a great job with it. Circa's a great place.
Yeah.
It's good to see everybody. I mean, you get a real feel that the season's about to start. So, I mean, it does. It's a great feel today.
The true kickoff, kind of. Maybe not for the coaches, but at least for the media. You know, everybody getting ready for August and the kickoff to the football season. The spring sports are all over now, and it's just like, okay, let's start football tomorrow.
Let's talk football.
So, yeah, exactly.
Time, right? So let's go.
Awesome. So I want to talk about maybe just some of the changes from last year to this year. Of course, you're heading into your second year as head coach with the Cowboys there. Maybe what changes you're expecting? What have you changed from last year to this year, if anything? And what can we maybe expect going into this fall?
No, well, I mean, number one, we didn't meet a standard that we need to have at the University of Wyoming last year. And so one of the biggest things that I needed to change and address was our overall roster composition, our overall roster management, roster building. That's the number one job of the head coach is to do that part of it. The second part was to, develop all the way through in all layers of the program what our culture has got to be throughout. We were still in an okay spot culturally last year, but there was leaps and bounds that we could take and that we needed to take. And we've also focused hard on the development of leadership within the program, which has happened. And I'm blessed right now that we've got a great senior group that has taken that and ran with it. And when I go in our building right now, we have a substantially different football team than we did a year ago, and so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, well, we had two great players on yesterday, Walsh and Gillenborg, just phenomenal. I mean, fortunately, they gave us a little extra time here. We got to know them a little bit more here, and I've been listening to the wonderful Fatter Fattest. I don't know if they're going to get you on here eventually.
I'm supposed to be on at some point, but yeah. Did they get you on the podcast?
Not yet. He did ask about my favorite McDonald's meal. I don't know if you've done that yet. But,
I'm not.
Okay, well, you got to jump in. These guys are hilarious.
Oh.
But I can see what you're saying with the leadership there.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, it always helps when your best players are the ones that are in leadership positions.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
John Mike Gillenborg, everybody knows, is a really good player.
Yes.
Okay, Jack Walsh is a really good player. Caden Barnett, Jalen Sargent, Caden Anderson, all these guys are really good players.
Yeah.
But it also then goes through to there's no age limitation on leadership. Just because you're old doesn't mean you're a leader.
Sure.
There's a lot of seniors that go through college football that aren't leaders.
Yeah.
Chris Durr is a good leader for us right now. He's a sophomore. Gary Rutherford is a redshirt freshman linebacker for us that's going to be a really good player. He's a leader in our program. There's a number of guys in our program right now that they're about it, and I think that's always the first part to it.
Well, you mentioned a couple players I'd like to hear from you a little bit more on. Let's start with the receivers, Sargent and Durr and others. But I think those are, clearly the top two. I'm very excited for what these two receivers, but the whole room brings to the table this year. Durr is a freshman last year. I had people, boots on the ground up in Laramie, telling me how much this kid, how good he looked at the beginning of last year. So can we speak to the receiver room, especially those two, and what your expectations are for them this year?
I think that will be our most improved position. And I think this will be, this will be a really good receiving group overall in the conference. Sargent and Durr both run very well, good hands. Chris Durr is very, very good in the slot, very elusive, very slippery, fits that mode very well. Sarge has top end speed to take it off. Big deal there. We've added a number of pieces to it. I think Joe Von Bonight coaching that group has been tremendous. And so, I'm really excited about where that group is at and where that group is going. Dion DeBlanc is brand new to the program. Jackson Holman transferred to us from Arizona. We've added Eric Richardson. there's a group of players in there, and I think we're going to have depth, competition, and a dramatically increased playmaking at that position.
Awesome. And I mean, Durr, some of his catches last year, hands just unbelievably.
He's
unbelievable.
He's got tremendous hands.
Yeah.
And his cousin is actually a freshman now at Wyoming.
Okay.
And his cousin has kind of a similar. You see a lot of the same type of ball skill to it.
Great. Let's talk about the running back room. Are we looking at maybe running back type by committee? I hate to even say that anymore because that's the norm now. Like, you don't have that one stud back almost at all. What are we thinking here with that room?
Well, the way I define it, I think if you're going to be really good, there's somebody that's getting 18 carries for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then there's somebody else that's going to get 10, and you might have someone else that's getting 3 to 5.
Okay.
Right. Or whatever that is.
Sure.
We haven't defined that out yet.
Yep.
That's to be determined. We have 8 of them on scholarship. We've got really in that room, Teron Kelman is new, DeMaje Harris and Max White just transferred in. I'm really excited about DeMaje and Max and what they look like. Sam Scott is back from last year.
Yes.
Nico Hamilton is a guy with good talent that we
Yes.
redshirted. There's a bunch of there will be a bunch of competition. Look, that's what we want to create.
Yeah.
Right. There's no day off.
Absolutely.
And there's nobody entitled to something, and so it's one of those deals that okay, whoever comes out of that, they're going to have earned it. And maybe we got 5 guys that get 7 carries a game. I don't know.
Sure.
But I hope we kind of establish a guy.
Okay, all right. I want to talk about quarterbacks, of course. Evan Svoboda was the man here early on last year. Rode him for a while last season. I was a big Evan fan. I was really hopeful that that was going to work out and great things were going to come. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. Don't want to relive history. Want to move on here with Anderson and kind of what your expectations are for him. Kind of a little bit of a different quarterback than what Evan was here. Where are we at? What are you thinking he's going to provide to the Cowboys this year?
Well, I mean, Caden's very confident. Caden's very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are 2 things right off the bat. When you're playing that position, the unflappability, confidence-wise, is a big deal. His accuracy is a big deal.
Yeah.
And he's very intelligent within the offense, and so that's a big piece of it there. Caden is in a much better spot from a physical standpoint than he's ever been at Wyoming. Like he's had his. He arrived coming off of an ACL in high school and the whole thing, and just where he's at now, a couple years out from that, physically he feels great. Physically he looks great, and so I'm excited about where he is from there. And yeah, with Evan makes a move to tight end.
Yeah.
And so we're excited about that piece of it. But Caden's in a good spot. Players have confidence in him.
Good.
Players have trust for him, and we're excited about it.
Well, I'd love to talk about every position. We just don't have the time to do that. Let's quickly talk about the defense. Obviously Aaron Bowl here being the DC in his second year, kind of brought up under you. You were DC there for a while. What are your expectations on the defensive side?
I expect us to be dramatically better defensively. I mean, dramatically better. This is the first time since I've been at Wyoming that we're going to have the size that we have at defensive tackle. We've got 4 guys that are over 295 playing in there now. We've never had that since I've been at Wyoming. I think that the linebacking group that we've got this year has a chance to be the best overall group since I've been at Wyoming. Wow. As far as depth, talent, and numbers. I think we can go 6 deep, in terms of 6 guys that could go play. But I think out of that first 5 is got a chance to be pretty high line.
Okay.
That's a dramatic change. And, a year ago, look, Bill King did for us a year ago at that position. For a couple years in a row, we signed 1 linebacker. One of them was Sam Scott. He's playing running back.
Right.
One guy's not in the program.
Sure.
Well, a year ago, then you were thin.
Yes.
And we had to address that, and we've addressed that really well. And I think everybody is going to know Gary Rutherford pretty soon. He's a freshman that we redshirted a year ago. I wouldn't have done that again if given the choice.
Okay.
Gary's going to be special, and so we're excited to see him play.
Fantastic. Well, Coach, appreciate your time here on the Big Mountain. I wish you the very best here this season.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I asked your players yesterday the biggest difference between the approach of Coach Bull and yourself, and really both of them said there's not much different as far as the approach. So I just wanted to ask you, what's the balance there between continuing the cowboy tough mentality, but also you putting your own stamp as the head coach of the program?
Well, I mean, there's a balance to it. I don't think that I did a good enough job with the balance to it a year ago, because I think I did more. This is what we've done in certain things, then this is what I needed to do in certain things. Okay, so case in point is that we have had far more team meetings like this spring, this summer on different things. Okay, we talked about 2 weeks ago with our team leading into 4th of July, where they got a couple days off. And then also in Laramie this past weekend is like Jubilee Days. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's people there all over the place and the whole thing about how we have to handle these large social things, these type of events. But how our priorities got to be taking care of our body, how our priorities got to be doing those things. These guys have come off of that with some of their best workouts now. And so that message got across, where a year ago, I kind of, we don't meet on all this stuff all the time. So I've been a lot more like, we got to teach this process a whole lot more. And I'm a lot more into that part of it. As far as the approach I mean, look, we're always going to hit that type of thing there. What we weren't a year ago was a physical enough football team. But in part of it was the fact that we had a number of guys that weren't ready to play Mountain West football yet. You had redshirt freshmen that were playing in certain positions that they're physically a year developed now. It's a little different. So that's always a piece of it too. But I mean, look, I think there's a roadmap of what has worked at Wyoming. My job is to try to figure out a way to make it work better even than when it did. And while like last year, we all hated what we had to go through last year and do that. It's actually made us better coming out right now. And when I walk in the building every day, there is a substantially different football team in that building right now than there was a year ago. I mean, it is, you feel it, you see it. They feel it, they see it. There's a substantially different team in there. So.
How did leadership grow, not just from the seniors, but the underclassmen, how they kind of taking that step, not just on the football field, but also?
Yeah, we've got our leadership has evolved tremendously this spring and summer from, partly because they know in the end we're not going to cut it down to 4 or 6 people and vote for captains. We're going to keep on going with people who are leading in the program, and we've empowered people. Like Jalen Sargent is a tremendous leader with the wide receiver group, but so is Chris Durr. And Chris Durr is a sophomore, right? Gary Rutherford is a freshman that we redshirted last year. I've got him in a leadership group that we meet with. But Gary's also one, he'll call people out. Like it does not matter. Gary's going to, so you see that happening, you see that evolving, but it starts with the fact that we've got a really, really good senior class right now. Jack Walsh, Caden Barnett, John Mike Gillenborg, Tice Westland, Evan Sabota, Evan Eller. Like, we got really, really good people in that senior class that are really good leaders that it permeates through a lot of different things. So.
Because NIL kind of looks different everywhere, how was the community or just the state really rallied around you guys in different ways?
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the constants that we always have at Wyoming, all right, is that we represent a state, okay? And that is east to west, north to south, corner to corner. We represent a state. There's other people in college football that can't even represent their whole city, okay? We have a brand, right? You wear the Steamboat on a hat, you go anywhere in the country, people are, hey, this Wyoming, go Pokes, things like that. People are recognized that way. And we've got a fan base. Like, we go to a bowl game, there's thousands of people come. There's other people go to a bowl game, they're lucky to get 100 people on a bus, and so we have that always going for us. And so People recognize that, and within the state itself, it helps us. So we're going to continue to need help. So that'll be a good thing.
Coach, I didn't show up in time to get your take on Bronco Mendenhall. How far do you guys go back, and why do you think he'll succeed in Logan?
Well, I mean, I really don't go back with him very far, other than the fact of just meeting him once I became the head coach. But what happens is I've had enough interaction with him, and look, I've known of him for so long, right, and studied different things, and I mean, there was times when he was at BYU that I remember watching, studying certain things of what they were doing and the whole deal. Like I said, he's first of all, he's a great person that is coaching for the right reasons and those types of things, and about development of character, development of the person. So that's a big piece of it. The second part to it, though, is the fact that he's never been afraid to innovate. He's never been afraid to step out of the box and kind of, okay, this gives us the best chance to be successful. And I think anytime that somebody's not rigid in their ways or not rigid in a certain mindset, that they then have a chance to be successful. And I think that Bronco certainly fits all that. I think Utah State got a great coach. And I know for him, he was very, very energized to come back to the state of Utah. And so it's home for him, and he'll do a really good job there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Coach, how much is your team looking forward to getting back on the field right now? Like, can you sense that?
Yeah, they can't wait.
Yeah.
No, they can't wait. They're in a spot right now where it's we start practice the 28th. They can't wait. And there's a lot of them that, the good thing is with a number of new guys, they get that taste in spring practice. Now they're ready to get going full time into camp. And then you just have a lot of other guys that just, I mean, they're really looking forward to it. I see Caden Anderson the other day. I said, how's everything going? And he's like, Coach, I just can't wait to get started, right? And that's the attitude and the mindset all the way through the program. No, I mean, you feel it, you see it. But I'm really happy with the group in the fact of their level of work in their production every single week through the summer has been climbing dramatically. Last week wasn't near as good as what this week has been so far, and that type of thing. And Monday they hit their best power numbers on cleans and different things like that they've done all summer. And they've continued this build. And so I just think that they've done we look the part right now a lot better than what we did before. We got more linemen that look the part. Skill guys are bigger. We're a little bit bigger. We're a bigger football team right now, and it's also our speed numbers are way up from where they were a year ago. Numbers of guys that are over 21 mile an hour, numbers of guys that are over 22 mile an hour, things like that. Those are quantifiable. We can measure those, but we also know, okay, we got quite a few more that are hitting these marks far more than what we did a year ago. So excited about it.
How did you like the way that the May transfer portal panned out for you?
Yeah, that was right now, knock on wood, right now I was really surprised pleasantly that I thought that we've added good players in that May portal. Max White is going to be a good player for us. DeMaje Harris has a lot of talent, and so I'm excited to see him play. The guy was averaging 8.5 yards a carry at North Texas last year when he got hurt. Okay, I see a lot of that right now in him when I watch him in morning workouts and I watch him in different things. You're sitting there looking at it and going, okay, I could see a guy that could be really, really good. Plus, he wants to be our kickoff returner. So we're going to have a 228-pound guy that's very fast returning kickoffs. Okay, I really like that idea. Dances Miller, I've been really happy with him, in that. I think Enoch Simbana, you're talking about a guy that started at North Dakota State on a national championship team. His level of, intent every day toward how he works is a value adder to the program. Max White, Enoch, these guys are like force multipliers, right? Like they work their ass off. And so everybody else around them is like, I don't even know this guy. And he's in here trying to kill it. Like it helps everybody. And everybody loves Max White. Everybody loves Enoch. It's like these guys have fit in great. It's been, I was nervous because I knew we still had some things that we needed to do at the end of the spring. I was nervous about, okay, can we accomplish this? And right now I'm optimistic about what I see from that.
Coach Sawvel, you talked about the transfer portal and bringing people in. Do you have an opinion on the current structure of the transfer portal and how it's working? And do you have a preference as far as 2 windows versus 1? And if so, why?
Well, I want 1 window because, I want 1 window, and I would be fine having it in like December and early January. Okay, that would be my preference. All right, because then if you give us a chance where we know by mid-January this is our team and this is our team going forward for the next year, that helps your development, that helps your planning, that helps your preparation, that helps them as players, and do that. I think that if there was 1 portal and it was in the spring, I think that's tremendously disruptive to your entire program. And look, I don't want to hear anybody say about like, well, it's better for people academically. Everybody's thrown academics out the window with this whole concept that we're doing anyway. So don't put an academic spin to it that way. I want it to be some form of academics are important because that's what it should have been all along, right? But to me, let's keep it mid-year. Well, a lot of people, now we've got the playoff, and now we got, well, you know what? In FCS for years and years and years, they had a 16-team playoff that was wrapped up by Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's just do that. We could play December 3 weeks and then have a championship game in early January and still not affect this other stuff. Why we got to be playing a championship game January 20th and all that other thing, and then start complaining about portal windows because of it, I don't know. So that doesn't make sense to me.
Coach, how important was it bringing in Dancis Miller with his experience to that cornerback room, given the departures?
Yeah, that's been a big importance for us because Ian Bell a year ago was injured in the summer, had no summer training, basically couldn't run through the course of the summer, and then all of a sudden you got to throw him out there and play. And he got better as the season went. He's had a great offseason now. So now we got at least a guy that's had a little bit of experience that now has had a full offseason the whole way through. But you looked at, okay, there's Tyrese Boss, there's Marquis Grant, there's some other guys that are younger that haven't had experience, and Dancis has played playoff games at FCS level and done things like that. The thing I've been impressed with him is here's a guy that's a senior. He's got 1 year. But he came from an FCS school. He's gained 10 pounds since he's been at Wyoming, just with resources of what we do food-wise, things of that nature. But he works extremely well. And that's in drill work, because in a lot of the summer drill work, I've been working with him with the corners. Does well in drill work. His feet are good. He's got good speed. He's an addition. I'm really excited about him. So.
It's been another great day at Mountain West Media Days 2025. So many great interviews, so many people to talk to, so much great content for the channel. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, make sure you like this episode, subscribe if you like our content. We have a lot more Mountain West content coming. With that, we'll see you next time on The Big Mountain.